What a pleasure to join you. What a pleasure to experience us, and for you to experience yourself from a different perspective. We enjoy the fact that we see our linear past, and that you have a glimpse into your linear future. Probabilities set aside just for the moment. We understand setting them aside permanently is not an option, but for the intents and purposes of this day, we set them aside to reconvene with our family, and for our family to reconvene with us. What a gift we are given to be able to share with one another the views, perspectives, and energy. Some of you are not familiar with our energy. Now there are thousands who speak as one. Throughout the interaction, it is possible for the thousands to increase to millions, or the thousands to bring forward one independent view. As a collective, we shift through energies. In each moment, shifting through that energy gives us the opportunity to make the right conversation, to make the perfect interaction, to be able to study ourselves in past and yourselves in future independently and simultaneously by those who are excited most by the topic at hand. The first topic that we as the Nihal want to share with you is why the alignment has co-created a reconvening. We are sure that Rob has shared with you some details about the disappearance of our voice, the leaving of our energy. It's funny to us because we see in his mind, he created a scenario that said, I just haven't had time. I just haven't had the opportunity to call upon the Nihal. But we have said the time wasn't created because the energy wasn't correct. The energy was not conducive for a conversation because the parallel past the 3% variable on both sides of probabilities was then outstretched and gone beyond. The question in some of your minds, is this an independent variable for Rob, or is it an independent variable for the collective? It is both. It is one or the other, and it is the same. Reconvening today assures us of one thing. It assures us that all of you who are in this room, all of you who speak and interact, all of you who listen, are within the 3% probability on both sides of the spectral analysis. That each and every one of you are within 3% of becoming a being who exists on a planet in the star of Beta Leporis. The Nihal race and human race share a great deal of lineage, of DNA, of energy, and all of you are the lineage that we carry. As excited as we are to speak and to babble on, we understand there are questions. We understand that the inquiries in your mind and hearts are very important for you. We take whatever question comes to us with an understanding that in your heart, in your mind, and in a combination of the two, you desire to understand both yourself and both the future versions of you more deeply. And we express a love that is without words of description for this exchange. Each and every one of you are teaching us as we teach you. We are thankful for that. Please share your energy and share your love, share your heart, and we will do the same in return.
Thank you, Nihal Collective. We are very happy that you're here today, and I'm really excited to talk to you all.
We are very happy.
As you know, we are going through some really great changes, which you may recall, and I was wondering if you could share some of the experiences as you were going into the fifth dimension, as we call it, or fourth density, and beyond. Maybe you could share with us what that was like for you, and some wisdom you can impart to us with these changes, anything that would be good for us to be aware of. Thank you.
Yes, and thank you also for the brilliant insight to see that our linear past can show you things about your future if you desire. We put aside those probabilities and share this. The continuation of your path equals a great expansion, a great understanding of the universe itself. But first, working the kinks out is important. Our future did not come into concretion without stumbles, without problems, without issues arising. For instance, all of you are aware of what war is. From the time in our past that you're in, to the time of us leaving the planet and going to our own home, there were still wars. There was still problems with governments. There were problems with individuals. There was problems with greed. And it did continue for a short time. The short time in your history is going to be about 200 years where you have to deal with one thing or another on smaller scales each year. Now you're going through wars of terrorism, financial wars, and each year that gets better. In 20 years, you will look back and say, life is so much greater than it was 20 years before. In another 100 years, it won't even be recognizable as a similarity. When you reach the time where you leave planet, you will be leaving behind something more beautiful than any can imagine here. All that we knew before we were you, all that we knew before we started our awakening process was pain and suffering. Pain still exists, but the way to perceive that pain changed. The way to perceive what the wars were, the way to perceive what the financial struggles were, was only teaching us about how we created. Each and every one of you have noticed something in the collective that was directly related to you. Now imagine the entire world filled with people who know that they're creating something. Within a 300-year time span, continuing in the same path you are now, everyone will be twice as heightened as the awareness of the greatest aware person in this room. In 20 years, the percentage of people who start becoming aware of themselves will be exponentially much larger. Seeing the experiences that you have in the next 3 years will show you how the entire collective will start to change in dealing with financial systems, in dealing with governments being crooked and people being greedy. Right now, you're already starting to see the beginning. Now, the problem with many humans that came before the version of us, the problem that they faced was believing that things had to be horrible before they ever got better. There's still a great deal of that in your collective now. People who say, I cannot have an equal exchange. I cannot have a dependable financial system that makes all equal in abundance until something breaks, until something crumbles. So what does that leave you with? It leaves you with the result of a crumbling financial system and desperation in millions of people before anything becomes better. That millions of people spreads out to billions. Soon after, the entire world would feel the effect. Learning to rein that in before it becomes widespread was something that we were able to do. In your linear future, and although we shared we would stay away from probabilities, we must invite this concept in. That when you are connecting to that energy in itself, thinking that things must be worse before better, to catch the spreading of that in your heart and in your mind. That is the independent factor that changes a little bit of pain to disasters. We were able to do that. We were able to change that. And you are in the same alignment as us. That means you can change that. Making people aware is the most important part. Making people understand that they do not have to feel pain before they feel independence is the most important part. And that is why we share our own story, to help you all make the decision to create yourself, not let others create for you.
Thank you very much.
You are very welcome.
I think his pants got destroyed in the dresser and I noticed the hole. So I just wanted to respect Rob's privacy. So thank you. Sorry about that. That's why I was like, you're like, what is she doing?
The modesty of people will also change in your future as you become us. Nudity, sexuality, all things will be expanded and widened very much, and we know that this can be a fun fact for you.
That's
A fun fact.
Thank you for sharing that.
You are welcome, and you may ask the question when your heart is ready for the answer.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out how to ask this question. I fell out of bed this morning on a hardwood floor, and I think I probably injured an area in my ribs. And it's kind of funny because, I just got in recovery from prostate cancer, and all the laboratory work supports recovery by far. But yet, there are things happening which sort of mimic that there might still be some problem. And it's like the universe is playing with me. And Alice went through a similar thing where she had a lot of symptoms indicating a possible cancer situation, and I knew it was okay. It turned out that she was okay after medical exploration of her situation. So I think I know the answer, but I'm curious about why the universe plays around with us and gives us symptoms that feel like we could be, in a serious state.
Yes, and appreciation of that question comes. You expressed by your own words that you feel the universe plays with you in that sort, and without a pun being intended, you are also playing with yourself. When you are feeling the energy of a symptom, that tells you something. That tells you that there is possibility of something that is wrong within you. You yourself have focused on your health for many years. Your focus of your health was always an independent variable in your life. You saw that many things were external sources. Your own health was both internal and external, and that going through that experience, the only way to treat the illnesses was to gain access to a higher state of consciousness, and also to tune your physical body so that it reacted well to the internal injury or energy and the energy of the food produced outward. So there are all these combinations that reminded you of the importance of your health, both mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and in all of those veins of energy, what was made aware to you? What was made aware to you is that your life was important. That despite all of the things you've experienced, your desire to experience more is there. That comes difficult to many people in your stage. When you are in the stage of life where you are going through and have had opportunities to experience a great deal, there is always the question, should I go forward? Should I continue living in this life when I've seen horrible and positive things behind me? And those scares are there sometimes to remind you that you still have the choice. That vibrationally and with your mind you create that magic inside you that either keeps you healthy or keeps you ill. So both of you have experienced that with an energy that all humans in this state carry. Fear, anxiety, and worry, that creates illness. Those symptoms remind you that you carry a great deal of pain inside of you, and that every time you let go of that pain, you are reminded that your health will increase. So it is there to show you both of those things. You can be healthy by letting go, or you can be ill by holding on. And this is what both of you have been shown recently.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You are welcome.
I think it was the same question.
Really? Wow.
So, I think it's been answered. So.
Twin flames going on here.
Yeah.
Hi, Nihal Collective.
Hello.
I have a question about my friends. And once I have a very, very close friends, like I think when we talk, our minds just crashing each other. It's just so excited. But last year when I moved out from the same city, moved out the city she lived in, and I think she started to want me to push her away, but I didn't. So she stopped talking to me. So at that time, I was questioning myself, am I being a good friend? But during the past year, some of my friends, some I haven't never met before, and some we lost contact for a while, but they start to come close to me, like they're seeking my support and my comfort and my advice. So I think that's very interesting. I just want to ask, am I still being a good person and having a positive relationship with my friends, even when they are leaving me?
Do you love the friend that you no longer communicate with?
Of course.
Then your relationship with that person is pure. That love that you have for that person, you're committed to try to work with them despite their not wanting to work with you, shows that you love. But there is also a fine line between allowing a person their own experience and also trying to help them. When you continue telling that person that they are loved, that you love them, that your energy is meant from goodness, that is acceptable. You can love them. It is good to love. But if it becomes so hard in your mind or heart that separation has occurred, that you push on that person and say, you have to accept me, you're not allowed to push me away, you cannot create space between us, then you are crossing a different line. Then you are taking a bit of that free will away. There is a way to love them from a distance. There is a way to love them without pushing yourself on them. By simply stating to them that they are loved, and whenever their decision to communicate with you occurs, that you will be there waiting in love and waiting with an open heart. That will tell them that it is their move next. When a human feels that they have no option left, they become desperate. When desperation occurs, there can be only a few outcomes. The two most common outcomes is pushing back at you harder or retreating for good. Neither of those are productive to the relationship with that person. So by telling them that they are loved, you understand that they have not had time or desire to communicate, and telling them that when they're ready, they may reach for you and you will be there, that is the best way to go in our minds, because we've seen the effects of all other attempts to try to get others to see our ways. When we cared for someone and loved them so much that we felt they needed to understand where we were coming from, all we did was push them. And when you push that too hard, then there becomes injury, not just to that person, but the dynamic relationship between.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You are welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
My question is, I came out of school last year. I have been in school for many, many years and a very long time. So at school, I used to have a lot of flexibility in time. I can, you take classes and you can do whatever you want, and you do research, whatever. So I have a lot of flexibility when I was in school. So came out of school, I started working, and what I do is, the type of work is good. I like it, and sometimes can be interesting, sometimes can be repetitive and boring, and I feel a lot of stress sometimes, not a lot, but sometimes it could be stressful for me when I feel like I lost this flexibility in time, because you have to work probably 9 to 5. And another reason causing me sometimes to be a little stressful is that the closest person I work with is also my friend. Sometimes he has a lot of responsibility on his shoulder and he's in a great stress. So this stress also affected me. So I'm wondering if you can give me some advice for people just got to start working, and how can you reduce this stress at work?
Of course, there is an option that we can share that will seem perhaps not valid or valuable to you, but we will share it nonetheless. If you remove yourself from that work altogether, or any part of that work that stresses you, you will benefit. Now, we understand the system that you're in. We understand how when we lived in our past, there was do this or do not have abundance, do this or not have financial means, do this in the job that you do like and that you don't like. But anything that you don't enjoy, anything that stress has caused will not be helpful to you. First, see what your favorite thing to do is, and then find a way to do it on your own time. Find a way to do it when you're excited. That is the bigger picture. The smaller picture of how to get through that experience. First, you are a giving person. Your heart is open, you care for others. When a friend is affected, it hurts you. That is rational and it is understandable, but you have to also be respectful of that person's experience. Just as we shared in our last conversation, when you become intrusive on another's energy, it does not benefit either you or them. So by saying, I need to let my friend experience this, and I cannot allow it to affect me, that is a way to help remove part of the stress. Now, how can you do this when you have such an open heart? You have to retrack your thinking. You have to reroute the process of your mind. Repeating a concept and intent several times over gives you an opportunity to retrack and retrain your brain. When you say, I can let my friend have a bad day without affecting me. I can let my friend have a bad day without affecting me. I can let my friend have a bad day without affecting me. Although it seems asinine, although it seems somewhat stupid, it will help you retrain the brain. It will help you retrain your reaction. The majority of the time when you're stressed, it has nothing to do with insight or energy in the moment. It is a reactive measure that's caused by your previous experiences. Removing reaction and creating interaction is how you'll be able to steady that flow of energy that's interrupting you. When you feel a negative experience at the workplace that's not related to your friend, then try to focus on what part of the job that you're doing is fun. What is the one part in your experience that gives you the most frustration? Think about what that is. When you think about that and have an answer, then try to take yourself into a new energy. Try to take yourself into a calm, centered place and say, what about this can I find that's fun? And try to pull the best out of it. This is the only way that it will help you work through that if you are not able to step away from that job altogether. And we say not able to, not because it is impossible, but because your feelings and beliefs might not allow you to just step away from it completely. Those feelings and beliefs are important.
Okay, that's very helpful. Thank you.
Yes, and thank you, too. You all have reminded us a great deal about things that can be lost. New things that come into our awareness as a collective are very centered in the now awareness. But when you remind us of the now by explaining the past, it shows us a great deal. And we want to thank you for that. We are ready for the next question.
Okay, it's very nice to speak with you. This is a bit abstract, and I'm sometimes not sure I even word the questions correctly. But here's in thinking about probable realities as an entity within the Earth Collective, is there a boundary per se that keeps our realities within a percentage of the collective as a whole?
We understand the abstract nature of the question, but that response is negative. That is not correct, because the collective that binds you is the collective you have created. So when you're experiencing probabilities, those are your personal probabilities. the fundamental difference in creating your own reality and co-creating your own reality is only the ones who you allow to co-create with you are the ones you created that experience for in the first place. So even in co-creation, your power has more power than anyone else. In fact, you are more connected to the part of your central universe than anyone else. In that way, you're the master of your universe. In that way, you are your own God. Every person who sits next to you in this room is the version of that person you have created with. And from their perspective, you are also. That is the conundrum. That is the part to wrap your brain around strongly. It's hard to imagine that every single person sitting in here has decided to co-create with a bunch of other people who have decided to do the same exact thing, but yet that's what it is. And the version of that person is quite understandably looking at you in the same way. So feel that creation power in yourself and know that even if you take yourself to a probability that is so far removed from what you understand as reality now, there will be versions of entities with you in that probability, and the percentage cannot be swayed. Regardless of how you see it, it can't be moved. That part is up to you and yourself. That is, we think that Aridif explains it as the twin soul. That is the job and function, not to restrict probabilities, but to allow them. We hope that that helps you.
It's almost incomprehensible at my point of understanding.
But yet you were able to extract such a pointed and beautiful question. So it is not truly out of the grasp. It is truly a bit difficult to firmly grasp, but you are grasping it well enough to have it in hand.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for this time. I'm wondering if you can see my future self and tell me what I look like. If I cast out maybe a year or two, my level of happiness, joy, security, prosperity, happiness, but most importantly, even my chakras, my ascension, progress. I was wondering if you could take a picture and it's the end of my future self.
We can and we will. We take several pictures because just in the moment you stepped into that circle and energy, there's change. First of all, the change in your own energy is the change of wondering, of thought. Will I make it to the next few years in happiness or joy, or will it be sadness involved? And then there's a part of you that reaches beyond that. The part of you that reaches so far beyond and says, am I able to create anything that has a happiness on it if what I'm working on now doesn't come to fruition? So all of those energies are different, and all of those energies are changing. So we will snap that picture now. 2 years removed from now, there is a very split possibility here. There are two main possibilities. One is that you will be struggling to find your place in that energy. Right now, that is a lower possibility. The higher possibility is that you will have achieved finding your own fixed connection to being able to be stable financially, energetically, emotionally. All of those things will fall in line. Your chakra system in your third chakra will be much clearer. Your throat chakra will be even more clear. Your third eye and crown will have the ability to access all of the things that you've already accessed, but at a higher degree. Your root chakra will finally feel planted, will finally feel open. But in between here and now, there are two different possibilities because there's two different ways to take your energy forward. The one where you feel very similar to how it is now, even more resistance in the root chakra. That possibility only comes from your energy, as it says, I must worry, I must be concerned about, I must not act until I know I am ready. That resistance in just the action alone is what keeps you in that path. But just stepping forward, just taking that very first step allows you to see the possibility with a brighter results. Something that I will assure you is that either of those paths will eventually lead to a better version of yourself, a more ascended version of yourself. And that will be a version of you that you will be happy and proud of. But the version of you that is more connected, that is more deeply embraced by you right now in 2 years, will be the version of you that's not afraid to step when you need to step, that will not resist when the opportunity comes, that will say, despite all of the consequences of this next step, I will choose happiness. So work with that energy and you will see that result. You will still see the same result, but it'll take longer if you're more cautious in stepping forward. We hope that that helps.
It really, really does. It's about staying in my joy, my happy place, and working hard with nature and to keep myself at peace even when the things get rough. To keep balanced in that, correct?
And not afraid to act when it needs to happen.
Okay.
The acting is part that's hard for so many of us in your time. Be gentle with yourself, please.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello, Nihal Collective. Much love and gratitude for coming to see us today.
And much love and gratitude for you sharing who you are also.
Thank you. Last night I had a private session with Aridif, and he told me that I have a connection to Nihal. And I have a very strong, I'm having a very strong physical reaction to your presence today. In my head, in my chest, in my whole body. I mean, it's actual physical pressure. And I was wondering if the fact that I have a connection to you is the reason for that?
Let me share something with you.
Thank you.
Dear friend.
Yes, my dear.
I am so aware of who you are. I remember when my life was very, very human and very in your now moment. I remember living my life sitting in this room as you are, looking at myself from a future perspective just like you. It is hard to access one voice through this mechanism, but my excitement rings my voice through to share with you the version of you that you are and have become. One of millions speak, and the one that speaks is yourself. You are speaking to yourself through the most aligned version of your Nihal self. And that is why the reaction, knowing that you are able to look in the eye of the version of you that you become, is very, intimidating, and exciting at once. So to share that with yourself is very appropriate today. So as we share and as we communicate, we understand your desire to speak to yourself was important for you to be in today and to be around today. And letting that flush some of the anxieties within you about knowing where you're headed is the reason why you see yourself today.
Thank you. I'm very, very, very grateful for your presence with us.
And we are grateful for yours. Much love.
Hello.
Hello.
There's this dream that I have whenever I'm confused about something, or whenever I have something that I need to decide that's major for me relative to how I am. And I haven't had that dream in years, and I had it last night. And whenever I have something that makes me depressed, I've thought about suicide a lot. And every time it happens, there's always either someone that comes into my life or something that happens that makes me think I should delay this. I should wait until either this person is done with me or I'm done with this event. And it feels like the universe is telling me that I have some sort of importance, that there is something that I'm meant to do that is more than I realize now. And since you are, from what I understand, you are what humanity becomes, do you know what that is, and if I'm still on the right path to achieve that?
First of all, we as a group wish to share one thing with you that we hope you find insightful. The experiences of the universe bringing you an opportunity to continue your pattern of life has already showed you and proven to you the point that you belong here. That without your presence, this world as you know it, as you experience it, would not be the world, because it would be missing one important part. So you have already assured yourself of that. A dream that usually comes after confusion coming last night. And you wonder, what could this be about? What is that experience about? You have been struggling with the idea of finding what's real for you, what is bullshit and what is correct, and finding the truth and the answers. It rips part of you one way and part of you the other. And that's okay. That's what humans do. That's what the Nihals learned to stop doing. So first, try not to rip yourself in half. Feel your emotions, but don't judge yourself for doing that. Process the emotions and explore them. Now, as for the great things that come for you, there are many versions of you. If you continue on the path, in the path that you are, with 3% variable on both sides of the vibrational spectrum, then you shall become a Nihal. And if you do, the part of you that becomes Nihal in this life becomes someone who is very interested in creating. We are trying to remember the title for you. Inventor. Inventor. That is a very close title to what you would be if you go to the Nihal version of yourself. Right now you're in alignment with that. Creating. Looking. Exploring. What are you passionate to create?
Happiness, I guess.
Happiness is a byproduct of what some things that are physically or tangibly created. What physically do you think would be a gift to others?
I'm not sure.
You can look for that. You can explore in that. Thinking and feeling about a new way to give others experiences. For your own self, for that own bout within you that struggles with the happiness, that struggles with the idea of what comes next, just know that that's normal. Know that that's going to be an experience that you can feel and deal with. Do you remember the part of yourself that now has a reason to continue going forward?
Yes.
Keep that at the front of your mind. Keep that in the front of your mind when you struggle. Right now, going forward is what's important. Working on what excites you, although those things are very difficult to find often. That is the goal. That is the way to keep moving forward. So continue working with anything that excites you. If you sit in the middle of a room and there is absolutely nothing that you can think that excites you, then do the thing that is least boring. Work with that. That's enough for now. And then the next moment, work with something that's the least boring. Fairly soon, you can feel a release of a great deal of your apathy. Apathy is only holding to you because you struggle with who you are. There's nothing that defines you more than just being yourself, just finding an excitement. And the question of who you are, that is the question all of you as humans will deal with for the rest of this life. Who am I? Even those who are accomplished in business, even those whose spiritual practices help millions, even those who are rich beyond wild imagination, every human in this life always still remains with one question at death. Who am I? The more that you know about that question, the less pain in your heart you'll feel. Just know right now that you are loved. A great being brings that to you frequently. He tells you how loved you are. The future version of yourself is awaiting you. The future of yourself is fluidly in motion. Follow that excitement to the best of your ability. Remind yourself of the person, of the energy, of the thing that keeps you moving forward. Never giving up. Your own will for excitement, your own will to the path forward is what will get you through the hard times. I hope that this is so helpful for you.
It is. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Nihal.
Yes, hello.
First, my gratitude for guiding my son and helping all of us here today. We are very grateful, thankful to you.
I am grateful that you are here, just as grateful as you are that we are here.
Though there are many questions which excite me, I'm so excited to know how our future human society is, how we live, what we do we still struggle with all those things? But more important, I would ask this question, since you being a human, so you understand human emotions. So my question is, how to heal the emotional body and how to know that our emotional body need healing?
Feel your essence now. Close your eyes. All of you, close your eyes now. Try to intuit a space around you, 6 foot wide on every direction. Breathe. The first thing in your mind that comes forward as a problem in your life, Say the word. Where in your body did you feel that? Where in the 6-foot field did you feel that?
In my heart, I feel I want to be me, who I am.
The emotional body gives you the opportunity to show you the heart is where your energy is holding resistance, is holding the key to unlocking that feeling of negativity that you feel sometimes. Sensing that 6-foot surrounding gives you the opportunity to complete your auric field. When you feel energy straight in front of you that aligns with your heart, it is always related to your heart. When you feel it to your left or right, in this area it relates to your heart. When you feel it by the ground, in your legs and hips, it relates to your root chakra. You can always pinpoint your location of where the resistance comes from in your auric field, because your heart chakra doesn't just exist here, it exists there. So remind yourself to say the word of the one thing that you're experiencing the most difficulty in, and see where it registers in your field. Now you know it's the heart chakra. The next step, the next logical step is try to find out what's wrong with my heart. And we would say that's not the way to go. Find out what is right with your heart. Find out what your heart is doing correctly, or what you're doing correctly with your heart. So now that you understand that the heart is the place of focus, what energy can you put behind it? What energy can you place into the heart, knowing that you are already doing the right thing? I love people very easily. That's good. I'm open to meeting new people. That's good. I've experienced creations with others and didn't judge them. That's good. You have already started pointing out all of the good things in your heart. This gives you the ability to open it even more. And what happens when you open something that's restricted? It becomes less restricted. And that's what you've done just by accepting the goodness that exists there in the first place. So when you feel that and when it's experienced as such, you've given yourself great relief. That great relief within the heart and the expansion and the knowing what's right and what you've done well, that gets you a much further way than looking at what's wrong. By knowing what's right, acknowledging what's right, feeling what's right, that clears it out. So continue doing that. I understand that the heart is the most precious part of the human experience. I understand that the more you become Nihal, the more important that becomes also. But everyone acknowledging their heart, acknowledging what is good within it, that gets you a very long way. And it helps the other parts of you. The heart doesn't just help your heart. Acknowledging your greatness of the heart doesn't just help your heart chakra. It doesn't help the heart plane in your auric field, the direction either way in your heart chakra. It truly complements every other chakra. It truly helps open every other chakra. By acknowledging your heart, you heal all. But by acknowledging the specific chakras when you're in need, say, money is my worry, and I feel my root chakra and third chakra, working with those independently is also very helpful. Not just because you can't fully heal it by healing the heart, but you need to understand the underlying energy. By opening the third chakra, the first chakra, when it's in flux or when it's being resistant, that's the teaching tool. That's what allows you to have awareness, which allows you to see what your beliefs are, and then allows you to change them. So finding all the answers, don't just go to the heart for everything. Go where it's needed, but don't be afraid to go to the heart. When you can't feel where in your auric field it is, don't be afraid to search your heart And after that, then maybe the awareness will come into the other chakras. Use that tool, and we hope it helps you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, too. We have shared with a great number of voices. We have shared with millions, and we have shared with thousands, and we have shared with few. And all of the voices together brings new perspective. The amount of people that are left to ask questions, then we will try to go through as quickly as possible.
We have, it sounds like there's many voices of you coming forward, is this correct?
There are many combinations of voices, yes.
It's amazing. Sorry, this is very curious.
Hello, Nihal Collective. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for being a part of us.
I've put myself on a path of learning about love and of looking within myself and trying to erase portions of me. Maybe that's not the right word, but trying to be aware of things which prevent me from being loving, completely loving, of all people, all things, of everything. And I'm wondering if you can look within my energy and help me along my path of maybe showing me where I have some resistance and also where I will be in 2 years on this path.
Yes, and showing you, helping you work through the areas of resistance doesn't always help you. Showing you where you can be within the next 2 years can sometimes help you. In your experience specifically, you are already aware of where your strengths are. You are already aware of where you want to be. Can we be safe to say that?
Yes.
Knowledgeably you know that's correct?
Yes, where I want to be is completely loving.
Of course, and your heart gives you that opportunity as you've shared it before with many beings. So let us tell you this, that when you're working with your heart, you don't have to plan for what's next. When you're working in your heart, you don't have to ask for assistance. When you're working truly with your heart and expanding, just the version of you that you are being is enough. Now, we understand you have a similar concept or question than someone previously who speaks to us, but you're a different person, and the answers come from different spring or source. So understand that when you're experiencing your heart and working on the heart by itself, that's enough for you. Your desire and the forward parts of you, understand that moving forward in love is important. It understands that the love that you've experienced is good enough. But it also needs to understand that just being aware of who you are and being aware of the parts of your life that seem rough, that will tell you enough about where the resistance lies in that moment. The resistance that comes into chakras doesn't last forever. It doesn't plague you for decades or years. It is only in that moment. And the more that all of you start to realize that a chakra blockage is only as permanent as your mind attached to where it is and the feelings and emotions behind that, the sooner you'll be able to release a great deal about that. The sooner you'll quit being afraid that your energy is restricted or that your chakras are blocked, and the more you can focus on the openness of it. So what we suggest to you, if your true desire is to find that flow of heart, continue what you're doing. Spread that love out further. Continue working on judgment. Continue working on self-judgment. And your answers are already within you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, very nice to meet you. I'd like to express my unconditional love and gratitude to all the Nihal. And
The pleasure goes both ways, my friend.
I wanted to ask about myself, what the experiences I'm having, metaphysical experiences, and the work I do on myself, and the resistance I'm feeling and where I'm going in the near future. If if you could tell me something about that, I'd be very much appreciative.
When you speak of the near future, what parts do you speak of?
I don't, 2 to 5 years.
2 to 5 years, where will I be? The question of all humans, yes?
I don't. Well, it could. You could go into more detail further into the future if you want, but yeah.
We're happy to be where you want to be. And what we're going to do now is share a little something about your awareness. When you woke up this morning, what was the first thought that you brought forward? The conscious thought that's rememberable.
The first conscious thought I brought forward this morning, I can't remember.
What is the first thought you remember, even if it's hours after waking?
Just, I suppose, just getting up and having a cup of tea and sitting out in the nice fresh air near nature.
What a beautiful world this is.
Yeah.
What a beautiful
I
day it
think so.
is.
Yeah.
What a beautiful tea it is.
Yeah.
That presence of awareness of the moment gave you an opportunity to reflect. And right now, you're thinking to yourself, I'm not very sure of what I thought about. That's the beauty of the thought.
Yeah.
When you're able to be in a thoughtless energy, when you're able to sit with the energy in the way it is and enjoy, you have already overcome obstacles that all humans experience. Many humans sit with the chakra system blocked because every thought is obsessive and every thought looks in every direction, and oh my God, this is going to be a problem for today and I'm not aware how to defeat this problem. But then the relaxation occurred, the breath was taken, the experience itself was just the experience. Breathing, drinking, absorbing, that in itself taught you a lot. And it taught you how to be in the moment. That experience in itself will mold your future more than any resistance or energy that you have that doesn't tell you about what's happening now or doesn't tell you what could happen next. We see your energy and you are a very wonderful person. You become a very wonderful collection of the Nihal, but there is also a part of you that worries about what can be next. And we understand that all humans experience that. Breathe. Be in that now moment and enjoy a lot like you have been. That's going to tell you more about the next coming years of your life than anything else will. We hope that this is helpful to you, friend.
Yeah. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We wish to share with you our own gratitude for all of you being together with us, and we share our hearts with you as you have shared your lives with us. Thank you all, and the communications will continue. Gotta go. Thank you all for your support here on Patreon. We will keep this type of unseen content coming your way. We love you guys with all our heart. Rob and Kalina. Come see our website, etwhisperer.com.